another edition of Wrestling Sheet Radio. I'm your host, ProWrestlingSheet.com editor-in-chief Ryan Satin, here with my co-host Jamie Iovine.
Hey, everybody at home.
Sorry we're a day
in the
late.
Car.
Or in the car, or gym, wherever. Cooking.
People who listen to podcasts in the gym are weird to me. Not to
Because it doesn't like pump you up.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, let's fucking clang and bang, and then.
So I'm still trying to get better with fitness type stuff, but there have been times when I've listened to podcasts because it helps the time go by faster.
Yeah, if you're on the treadmill,
you're not
maybe.
Focused on like the act of working out. You're just listening to the podcast, and if it's a good podcast, it helps you lose track of time.
For cardio, I can understand that, but for other stuff like lifting and all that stuff, I can't.
Because when I've been running, I can't help but like look at the clock.
Of course.
And I keep looking at the clock. Well, how long have I been running? How long have I been running? How long? That's why I've been trying to watch it during. Try and do stuff during wrestling. Try and work out during wrestling because it keeps my attention.
Absolutely.
And I don't notice how long the time has been. Sorry we're a day late for the show, everyone. Jamie had things to do yesterday. Kevin couldn't come in. And Eli, who knows what that guy's up to these days.
I mean, it's not even like you could check on his social because he barely touches it.
That's why I say it. I don't know. I never know what he's up to. We talk. I mean, he and I talk frequently, but he definitely, I mean, he's got a girlfriend now, and you know what that's like when you get a girlfriend. It's hard to keep up with wrestling.
Well, especially if you drop off the map and have no social connection to the rest of the world for a week and a half.
Yeah, because he's not reading Twitter to see what he missed and stuff like that.
No.
He's just like out on his own thing.
Which, by the way, like if you really needed him, it's not that hard to catch up.
Well, I mainly wanted him, it was for all-out discussion. And also he and I discussed, not only had he not watched wrestling in 2 weeks, but he was very busy at work as well. And so if it was just going to be he and I didn't want to dump that on him because I know the pressure of having to be the number two person. And you've at least watched wrestling. You have opinions on things. You're caught up in the moment.
I'm just genuinely curious as to like when the time is going to come to when Burning Man becomes an official like work holiday, because all these people giving a whole week off of for these guys just to go in the desert for 2 weeks. Week and a half.
And it seems like there's no service there because they're in the middle of the desert. So like you don't hear from the people that are there. It's not like Coachella where when someone's like there for a weekend,
you can still talk to them.
You still talk to them. You see all their posts. You see everything they're doing. Eli is just. He's been off. Like when he finally texted us, I was like, he's alive.
But there's like important people that go there, and like you'd think that they would need to get things done. You know,
I'm sure those people have Wi-Fi in their buses that they bring to.
Maybe
they bring there. Well, let's talk about. Okay, we only got a little bit of time today because I gotta head out of here too for some stuff. But this was a big week, and it was mainly all focused around Chris Jericho. I feel like, but like Chris Jericho all across the board had the biggest stories of the week involved. Just the biggest wrestling-related things involved.
Not just one, a few.
That's what I mean, yeah. Like, honestly, when I was trying to put a list together, it was just like, Chris Jericho. We have to talk about everything Chris Jericho has done for the past week because he's had a big week, I feel like.
I even told him this yesterday. I said, nobody on this planet could take a huge blow, roll through it, stand up, and do a backflip and land it. You know, like
it's crazy.
Like anybody else in this position would have panicked.
Imagine if that had happened to Hangman. Like it would have been like
people would have panicked. I mean, he would have panicked. It wouldn't like. Just talk about rolling with the punches, you know, like it's mind-boggling. Not only did he make a story out of this that he could sell more merch, more t-shirts off this, he got 2 more catchphrases because of it. Well, not 2 catchphrases. I'm sorry. He got 1 more catchphrase and another just
like an angle.
Like
thing
an angle.
Yeah.
The whole getting the belt back, which is a story in itself.
Well, before we even get to that,
okay,
let's talk about first what he did before. Let's talk about him winning the belt because that also shouldn't be lost on everything.
Yeah, Chris Jericho won is the first ever AEW World Heavyweight Champion clean. By the way,
very clean with the most powerful move in wrestling, the Judas effect.
Yeah,
which I love. Like Chris Jericho. I've said it before in the past. Even when we didn't get along, like he's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Of course,
the fact that he can just get things over that are so basic it's so crazy. Like
it's insane.
The fact that he got the Judas effect over so quickly and people are genuinely like fans of it. Like I know people laugh at it because it's a back elbow, but honestly, the fact that it's just a back elbow and he got has made it more over. Almost.
I will say this: it was if you had to pick, he's only done it a handful of times, but if you had to pick one perfect execution of it, it was against Hangman Page.
Yes.
Like it really came out of nowhere. Like it was a real good transition into the back elbow.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm coming around with it.
I actually, I like the Judas effect. I think more than the Code Breaker.
Really? I mean, well, it's better for your back.
Well,
but
see, I think the Code Breaker I was always a big Carlito fan, and so the Code Breaker just felt like a ripoff of the Backstabber to me. So I never like super got into it. I always loved the Lion Salt, and I always loved the Lion Tamer and stuff. But yeah, I don't know why the Code Breaker never got super over with me for some reason.
I understand. I mean, like, here's the thing with the Code Breaker. Theoretically, like if you work in the science of this, which
you're
should
hurting
never,
yourself.
Yes, but you never should. Like it should never. Yeah, all logic needs to go out the window for a lot of these things.
I can't though. Sometimes, like sometimes, I'm like. That would hurt you way more than it would hurt your opponent.
Like, yeah, you're driving the chin down onto your knees, which would hurt.
Like when Jericho did it in the match, I think Hangman was doing the buckshot lariat thing, and Jericho reversed it
onto the floor
with Code Breaker, and I went,
that looks like that hurt a lot.
That would just hurt your back. Why would you just want to jump back first onto the ground? You might as well just take in the buckshot clothesline.
I was always a fan of when he used it as a finish, and he doesn't use it anymore as a finish. He still does it, but not as a finish. Is the Lion Salt? I loved it. I loved the Lion Salt growing up.
Me too.
It was cool. It was almost like his variation of the People's Elbow.
Yes, totally.
Totally. You knew that when he did that. It's not even a bulldog, but it's the face.
Yeah, he did the running. It was a bulldog, but he was like the most lazy bulldog of all time.
Like when you knew that was
not like
coming,
in a bad way, but it was just like the one hand kind of from behind.
Like when he did that, it was time for the Lion Salt. Very much when The Rock did the Spine Buster, it's time for the People's Elbow.
Totally. No, Lion Salt mark for sure. Loved it. Jericho's awesome, and so I actually thought it was a good match. I thought they had a really good match.
I don't know why people. It's. It's what we talked about last time, and it's still to me it's still not a clear-cut answer as to whether or not this was a good idea or not. Because honestly, you could really argue both, and I don't think it was a bad idea by any means, but
putting this match last.
Putting
the title on Jericho. Sorry.
I'm still talking about
sorry.
Jericho. Yeah. It's just that because of course hindsight makes things so much easier to understand. We wouldn't have had this.
No.
If Hangman won, like it would have been like, okay, we have a champion, and then okay, well, he's got to defend it in October, so let's wait till then.
Here's how I even look at it: this stuff's important to me. To me, the media is important. Like to get coverage is important.
Especially for a new company. And to me, if Hangman had lost his belt, let's say Hangman won and he lost the belt, right? Or got it stolen. Which, not to knock Hangman, but I doubt he would have reacted the same way. But even that, all that aside, it would have only been picked up by wrestling media. It would have only been on like my site, Wrestling
That's
Observer. Also true, yeah.
It would have been on the regular wrestling sites, WrestleZone, all those kinds of sites. But I don't think it would have been on top of TMZ. I don't think it would have made international news. I just don't think that would have happened. I think that it would have been a small, contained thing. And to be honest with you, like that story, as silly as it was, and we'll get to all of it, like did ultimately help AEW in some way, which is crazy to think that a lost title helped a company, and we'll get to that. So the Jericho thing, I agree with you. Putting the title on Jericho made all the sense in the world. I said it before, I said it after, and I also think it's setting up the building blocks for a Hangman heel turn. They had it in the post the most recent. They did it on something. It was either in the post-match thing they did. Yeah, I think it was in the post-match thing they did, not on Road 2, where the thing that Jericho did the whole little bit of the bubbly thing on. I think they also had a moment with Hangman Page there where the Bucks came to say, like, good job. And he was like, yeah, cool. Like, and they were like, well, do you want to come get dinner with us tonight? And he was no, I just need a minute. I feel like they're setting something up there. I feel like he's going to turn on.
And the newest being the Elite, like it shows him like he doesn't have a whole big part in this latest episode. It's just
that's what it was. It was
it's
being
just
the Elite.
him in the locker room.
That's
He's
what
just
it was.
Like just hanging, Hangman Page was hanging.
Well done. That's what it was. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was the being the Elite that came out the next day. But yeah, I really thought The match was good. The stuff about how the Bucks should have gone on last didn't make sense to me. If anything, the Bucks match should have just been earlier in the show, in my opinion. I feel like...
I mean, I think they really need. I think, honestly, I would have had the Bucks and Lucha Bros start them.
Me too. That's exactly what I said to one of my friends, and he said the exact same thing to me. Like, that's why I said earlier in the show made more sense for that ladder match than it should have closed the show. Because why would you close the show with another company's title match?
And they ended. I mean, it's of course. Why would you not want 3 great matches back to back? But I mean, think about it. We had Kenny and Pac, Lucha Bros, and the Bucks, and then Jericho and Paige.
Kenny and Omega and Pac was earlier in the show.
Was it like the? Oh, that's right.
I'm trying to remember which one was right before. I think it was the. I'd have to go back.
I think it was that.
It might have been the women's match,
and then a women's match afterwards.
Yeah.
You're right. My mistake.
But still 3 great matches.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that people noticed was that, I mean, and this is just anybody. I feel like this is just like it's the cross you have to bear for being in the main event. Yeah, you're in the main event, but you also have the handicap of working with a crowd that's been sitting down and cheering their asses off for 3.5 hours.
Sorry, the match before the match before the ladder match was Cody versus Shawn Spears. That's what it was. I didn't want. I've been getting people were like, "Hey, you got a computer right in front of you. Why don't you just look up these facts?" And I got one wrong last when we did the review. When I did the All Out review, I had some guy a couple people who were so mad at some of the facts that we got messed up there. So for that man,
priorities.
There you go. I just got it right now. I feel like Cody versus Shawn Spears was maybe the weakest Cody match in these AEW. It was fine.
It was fine. It's just.
It didn't evoke the same emotion out of me as the other ones did.
And to be honest with me, dude, I'm with you. I'm sorry. And this is not a knock to Shawn Spears whatsoever.
No.
He had a chance. He was given a huge stage to go and show people who he was. And I don't think he really took advantage of it, to be honest. Yeah, he came out with Tully and, for whatever reason, the contact lenses. And it's, I don't know. It ended in such finite fashion. It's like
it's also weird that Tully randomly walked away.
Yeah, like after Arn gave him the spine buster, Tully was, well, I'm just flabbergasted. I need to go to the back and think about this for the rest of the match. I was so weirded out by that.
You were not happy with that one.
I'm like, why would you leave your boy? I wouldn't.
Arn wasn't even allowed to be there, Tully.
If Arn Anderson came out and gave Royce a spine buster, I wouldn't have left, personally.
You probably would have.
I wouldn't have left. I would have stayed and been flabbergasted, but I wouldn't have walked away. I don't
distract Arn with a flare.
It is a known fact that you can escape Arn Anderson if you stay perfectly still. It's a known fact.
Okay, so the show as a whole, I think it was a good show. Nyla Rose is a good choice, I think, for the Casino Battle Royale.
Hey, wait.
Oh, you gave up on the headphones?
My ears were getting hot. Hey, wait. Did you know that she wasn't born a woman?
Yeah, I've seen all the people on Twitter this week. It's ridiculous. People are dumb. Private Party beat Angelico and Jack Evans. SoCal Uncensored beat Jurassic Express,
which was surprising.
You
would think that they would want to feature these guys, I'd like to think that the Jurassic Express was a little bit of a nod to Cornette. I think so.
Oh, like the Rock and Roll Express?
Because he's managed a lot of...
the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express. He's the Midnight Express. Sorry, excuse me.
And, Express to me has always been a Mid-South thing, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's always been I've never seen Expresses anywhere else in wrestling before.
It's definitely more of an old school
so that's why
I
think maybe, and especially who it's featuring, I think it could be a little...
It's possible.
It's
possible. Did you like the name?
I hope, we don't know for sure, you may know, but I hope that it's not referring to when it's just Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Because when it's just Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, the whole A Boy and His Dinosaur was awesome to me. I love that because it reminds me of Peach Dragon. But if it's supposed to represent all three of them, Marco Stunt and and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. I'm okay with it.
Someone said there's like already something called A Boy and His Dinosaur.
A movie, maybe.
Is that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah,
like,
I know there's a movie or a TV show or something like that.
The Good Dinosaur.
Oh, I know that. That was like the weakest Pixar movie ever.
The Boy and His Dinosaur is an old
Cars 3.
It's an old book apparently.
Yeah, that's where they got it.
Maybe that's why they had to change. Maybe that's why, just for
maybe
copyright purposes, so they can use the name more. But I gotta say in that match, Luchasaurus was by far the
star.
standout. Yeah, dude,
the star.
Like he was so impressive in that match.
He really was.
So you mentioned he could be like the Kane of AEW.
I think like I was telling you when we were watching it, I saw 2002, 2004 Kane. You know, back when he came back with the half mask and he was like a good guy and he was beating up the Un-Americans and stuff like that when he was teaming with the Hurricane. He kind of reminded me of that because Kane, that version of Kane was a little more of a humanized Kane. Mm-hmm. You know, he did the Spinaroonie. He did the Kane-a-Rooney, I'm sorry. And he teamed with people that are fun like Rob Van Dam, the Hurricane, so on and so forth. And I see that a little bit in Luchasaurus. Like not so much like he's a big like visually horrifying.
Oh yeah.
But when you talk to him, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the Luchasaurus." You know, like it's so.
I got a PhD.
Yeah, and so I see that in him, and he could be that. And also, if they just keep it going like this down the line, when he turns heel, he's unstoppable.
Oh,
he's a monster.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
he's going to be an asset, I think, to that company.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At first, you know, the Luchasaurus signing was a little bit like, okay,
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah,
and.
Each step along the way, it's gotten better and better.
Absolutely,
yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that he's someone who slipped through the WWE cracks. You know, Pac versus Kenny Omega ended via
how
ref
I
stoppage.
thought it would.
It did end the way you thought it would. You know, I listened to Chris Jericho's podcast that he did about All Out, and it was kind of like his backstage perspective on things. And he said that this match. That Pac and Kenny Omega were super pissed afterwards when they got backstage.
They were cut for time.
Because they had to cut, they went long and they had to cut a bunch of stuff that they had planned in the match. And to me, that's kind of evident. It really stopped out of nowhere. Like, it seemed like they hadn't gotten the gear they were getting towards.
It was. You can always tell when a match ends before. Not always. I'm sorry. Always is general. But I'm saying it's more often than not, you could kind of tell when a match ends when it wasn't really supposed to. Mm-hmm. Because when a good match is ending, it's building up to a crescendo.
Yeah.
And this didn't.
No.
You know, that whole lock that Pac did on Kenny when he had him on his shoulders came out of nowhere. And then the referee, the tap, even the fans were just like, oh, shit, it's over? Okay. Like, you know, like.
Yep. It wasn't this big uproar or anything. It was like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah.
Like, what?
And, I mean, cool. I mean, it's a cool ending to me. And also, I can't say I'm a historian on Kenny Omega, but I can't think of how many times he's been submitted.
Well, he technically didn't give up. It says via ref stop. I don't think he gave up. I think he passed out. But it's very technical.
I love how that's becoming the common thing now. That if you don't want nobody to win and nobody to lose, you know, they just have one of them not submit, just pass out from the pain. But you know how painful something has to be for that to happen? It would have to be so painful
to pass out from you'd have to be, well.
I don't know.
Well,
dude.
in UFC, you've seen it before.
Well, UFC, yeah, because with a choke lock, you're cutting off air to the person's
True, that's
brain.
just like no, you could get a leg lock that makes someone. But,
I don't know about that.
But I don't know if you'd pass out from the pain of a leg lock or an arm bar. You'd
have
your
to
arm
snap
broke.
somebody's leg.
And then they'd pass out from the shock value of having their leg snapped. That's true. Yeah, you're right. Jimmy Havoc versus Darby Allin versus Joey Janela in the Cracker Barrel
How
clash.
Joey didn't rip every tendon in his legs when he did that moonsault to the outside where nobody was there.
Yes.
That and Darby
didn't break his back.
Wrapping his back pretty much around the steel steps.
That was insane.
That didn't need to happen, bro.
It did not need to happen.
I mean, if he hears this, he's gonna be like, well, that's just who I am. And hey,
more power to you.
You're a grown-ass man, you know? And all the power to you. But Jesus, if you haven't seen this, I'm sure it's not hard to find.
No.
Go back because it literally looks like the best comparison I got is when Vince got pushed off the cage match at St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
Classic.
And he hit the corner of the table, not the table, the corner, and his back like cheese, like wrapped around it. It's what it looked like. Like it looked like you know when you were on a yoga ball or something like that, and your back just completely folds to the shape. It looked like that.
It did.
Like,
and you're leaving out that he had the
barrel,
too. That he slammed through the barrel to the steel steps, which I guess maybe broke the fall a little bit, which is why he did that. But like, still. Him and Joey definitely just like did unnecessary things in the match.
Let's not leave out Jimmy Havoc having thumbtacks in his mouth.
Yeah, true. Oh yeah, God, I left that out too. You're right. I'll be honest with you. I don't love this. Like
they're doing it too much, dude.
An excessive amount.
They're doing it too much, and I think that.
And they shouldn't make it seem like Joey, Darby, and Jimmy are only there for death matches. I think Darby got that one against Cody, I guess, but Joey's really been kind of pigeonholed as like this death match guy.
Joey has. If he has to keep up this like schedule, Joey's gonna die because like every pay-per-view he has to do some insane thing, like the ladder spot against Moxley, or this moonsault onto literally. At least Darby had something to break his fall. Joey had nothing.
Yeah,
Joey had gravity in the floor.
Yes,
that was it.
Yes,
and when you see him land, because you see like the point of his toes hit first, and you could just like anybody who's like, I don't even know if it's stubbing your toe, but it's I mean, obviously it's 100 times worse than that, but I'm saying like the reverberation of your feet hitting first.
Yeah.
And there's no give.
No.
That shit's shit all up your spine.
Oh, yeah.
That
was like when Ali did a backflip off the top rope on Smackdown this week to the outside and just landed on his feet, and I was like, ow, that looked painful.
Like, all you got to do is jump from a trampoline onto the grass. Yeah. That'll fuck your knees up, dude. Like, it really will. I've done it as a child because, you know, you kind of get like into the groove of it's bouncing, and then when you land on it is jarring. So imagine that times 1,000.
Yeah, I when I was listening to Jericho's podcast and he was talking about this match, he also was a little critical of it. He definitely was like, I'm not super fan of like the excessive hardcore wrestling.
It doesn't need to happen. Like, have it be, I mean, we're sounding old, and you know, everybody's like, you know, the cage matches are only used as a blow off, and so like that should be this too. But
he said, Jericho said in his podcast, he was like, I dare one of those guys at a TV taping to, if they're booked in a match with me, to bring up the idea of using a fucking staple gun. Like, not gonna happen. Not into it.
Which is interesting because this is the same guy who did a thumbtack spot for a match that, you know.
Well, he brought that up, and he said that he like made a big deal of it. It was the only time he had ever done it.
That's very true.
Milked it to be as much as it's worth. Like, he was like, I'm not just taking a random staple gun. He was like, we worked to that. We built to that. It made a huge thing of that.
That's very true.
I had never done that before. Like, it was like a whole thing. Like,
it's just, you know what I always laugh about? I mean, it's not so much a laugh, but like I always get kind of bummed out about is like I wish that Jericho was given a better opportunity or a stage to do it instead of that Lunatics Asylum match, which, you know, didn't do anybody any favors.
I'm sure he'll have another opportunity with Dean Moxley down the line. They've got a lot of TVs
Which,
ahead.
I'm sorry, also, Jimmy was doing the paper cut spot, but with laminated paper.
And not even, like, touching them. It was the worst paper cut spot I've ever seen, especially knowing that you can't get that done with laminate.
No.
That wouldn't work. That wouldn't happen. Dark Order versus Best Friends. I think we kind of feel the same way we did in the pre-show.
Dude, I'm
Something's
sorry.
not clicking.
Dark Order, they're just not working, dude. They're not. Like, it's just the presentation is so bad. I feel bad because everybody was like, oh, the Super Smash Brothers were so dope in the indies. And this is my first experience because I'm giving them a shot. I've given them a few opportunities to like, and I'm not like, I'm talking like they owe me something, but no, I'm saying like.
I've given them so many opportunities.
I've tried to get into them because if people like them.
Yeah.
But dude, I'm sorry. Just the presentation is ass. The freaky perverts are a little weird.
I did like all the Orange Cassidy stuff at the end of it, though.
He's the best part of it.
Yeah,
the match was over.
Yeah, no, he was the best part of it after the match, definitely. I honestly think, and I hate to be like, I don't know if this seems rude, but if Evil Uno was just solo, the act would be so much better and make more sense.
See, the thing is, though, I got to be honest. Maybe I haven't seen him in person, but just Evil Uno is not intimidating to me at
But he's
all.
like a gross heel, which is fun.
But to me, the way they're presenting him looks like he's like Shao Kahn. You know, like
True,
like,
fair.
And he's not.
Fair.
He's like 5'10", you know, like fat. You know, I'm sorry, he doesn't have a lot of muscle on him,
No.
if any. And I'm not trying to body shame, but this
No.
is just if you're trying to give that character, this is what it needs to be.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do for the character, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I don't know. And then you throw in, like, here's Evil Uno, and then his name may as well be Jeff, the other guy. Because it's the most regular ass name. What's his name again? Stu. Tommy Pickles' dad.
Yeah, no, I actually really like Evil Uno. I think Evil Uno is a super talented dude, but I don't think.
And I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he's not.
No, I know. I think as a heel, the act would make more sense for some reason. I don't know what it is, but I've noticed we're not the only people who say this. It seems to be the general consensus for some reason when it comes to the Dark Order. Riho defeated Hikaru Shida. That was a fun match. I wasn't super paying attention to this one. I was kind of doing some stuff. I was writing something. But it was a fun match. We talked about and then Lucha Bros versus Young Bucks was an awesome match.
I mean, they absolutely destroyed each other.
They
I ended up going back and watching.
So did I.
it,
Yeah, because we
had
to eat dinner at this point. So
we were going off of like 8 hours of wrestling at that point.
Yeah, because we had done Takeover 2 before that, the UK Takeover, which still my favorite part of the day. That whole entire day was the shooting star press from the outside that Mark Andrews did, and your family just going, Jamie, why don't you do that?
I was shooting star press shamed over the weekend by my family, nonetheless.
It's like you're posting all these videos of you in the ring doing headlocks and
running the ropes. Sorry for knowing the fundamentals, Dad. But yeah, I was legitimately. My dad is ashamed of me that I don't know how to do a shooting star to the outside.
My dad's ashamed of me for not knowing how to do a shooting star press yet. Oh man. Okay, so then when I was on the way home from your house, because that's where I watched it. I was watching the Jericho thing in my car because I was just interested. The post show. So I saw it live when it was happening with the whole Jericho walking through the halls and roasting everybody, which was honestly amazing. Like it was one of my favorite videos.
You gonna tell me to shush?
Hey, you with the stupid hair to Brian Pillman Jr. And he was just saying so many things. I was laughing the whole time. It was so good.
I love that he went to the legit paramedics, like the actual paramedics, and was like, "Where were you guys when I was bleeding to death?" He was bleeding to death.
I also like that he said on his podcast that they were just kind of like, hey, here, just because he said he doesn't like to listen to what he has to do after the match until he's done with the match, so he didn't hear what he was going to have to do afterwards. So when he came back, they were like, here, just take this mic and gloat to everyone, and everyone's going to look disappointed. And he was like, okay, cool. And he just went and ripped on all that. And it was great.
Excuse me. Sorry, everybody thinks I'm picking my nose at home, but it's just allergies are driving me nuts. In the summer.
You did kind of pick your nose that one episode.
There's legit dust in my nose, bruh.
Like I saw it, and when that one episode when you did pick your nose, I saw there was a few where you were like pushing, but there was one moment where you did pick your nose for a second, and right when it happened, I was like, someone's gonna call Jamie out on Twitter for that. And so when the guy did, I laughed because I was like, that guy definitely looked like.
Dude,
Jamie
I'm
picked
sorry,
his nose.
I got allergies. So you're going to have to deal with it.
Who doesn't pick their nose? Come on, man.
Do y'all see the video Kanye eating his ear boogers?
I did. That was so gross. I don't eat any boogers.
Neither do I.
And that's crazy. I was like, oh my God, that's disgusting. Okay, so then Jericho then gets to his dressing room and sees he's talking about his things. He's got the salami. And
I don't think this part is talked about enough. That he's spraying the champagne, and usually you're supposed to spray it on everybody, but he just sprays it on the guy. Literally only him. None on him. He's just like, yeah!
He totally just sprays it on the guy, which is so good.
Because usually you're like, yeah, like all that shit. Nope, just on him.
I'll be honest, as much as I loved the whole little bit of the bubbly thing when I watched it live, I did not expect it to become such a thing on Twitter the next day.
It made me laugh. Just his delivery was because he goes first.
A little bit of the bubbly.
And by the way, because it's like you said, he takes things that aren't necessarily that big because he didn't come up with that term.
No,
like the little bit of the bubbly, like it's like an old.
It's from a movie too, I think. Like he said, I think it's from like a popular movie where they say like, "Oh, you want a little bit of the bubbly?"
No, it's just a thing people say.
No, I think he said it's from like Dumb and Dumber or something like that, where there's like, "Oh, a little bit of the bubbly" or something. He said he got it from something.
I'm sure he got it from that, but
Yeah.
it's not. That wasn't the creation of the term.
Wait, it is. Yeah, I think it is Dumb and Dumber. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that is what it is. It's when they're in the suits.
Oh yeah, when he pops and he kills the bird and he kills the owl.
Yeah, it calls for a little bit of the bubbly. That's what it is from Dumb and Dumber. Yeah.
And then he kills the owl with the cork.
How is in all the edits?
This party just died.
A nice pair of hooters. It's funny in all the edits that I've seen. I don't think
Nobody's done
put
that.
him into the actual thing he took it from.
Which have you seen the No Mercy edit this morning?
No.
That's a good one.
No, I've seen
the Diggity Dog.
No.
That they crushed it with that one.
Oh, let's see. Pull it up and put it on your microphone. I saw the Brock. Honestly, the best one was the Brock Lesnar one.
That
in my
one was
opinion.
great.
That one was so good. The Roman Reigns one was pretty funny too, but the Brock Lesnar one was
Lesnar
so
one
much better.
Is the best one.
I liked, and obviously the Lou Bega.
So this is just the noises of select. So everybody knows this standard menu select music that plays when you play No Mercy.
Exhibition.
And it's clever because they even use his character in it.
That is really good. Oh my god, that's so good. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I like the.
But I like when it goes. Oh, he goes.
Yeah, no, the little bit of the bubbly stuff. Oh man, I love that it became such a thing, and it's just like the list. Something so simple. You just made the list. You know, like something that silly that just like became such a big thing.
But I think it's just also a testament because I think it's an important skill, not just in wrestling, especially in wrestling, but in a lot of walks of life, that you really got to think on your feet. You got to roll with whatever cards you're dealt. And case in point, this is what happened.
Totally.
You know, like I keep saying this because it's true. Anybody else in this position would have panicked.
I agree.
Anybody.
I mean, if Hangman, there's no way that there's anything Hangman would have said after winning that would have gone viral like that.
No.
I love Hangman. I think he's super talented. But just Jericho's like he's just like an international celebrity, like, you know, and he's pumped that he gets to like do things his way after being told what to do for so long, and that someone's given him the opportunity to be champion, and he wants the company to gain from it, like from his celebrity. And honestly, the fact that they went viral from something so stupid is hilarious to me.
Really, dude, I'm really, and the only reason why more people aren't talking about it is because he's still active. But, I mean, he's got to go on the Mount Rushmore at this point. I think, dude. Think about the whole body of work, dude.
I mean, it's so hard.
It's
one of those things where
I think he's up there.
Like Jericho and Rey Mysterio, to me, are two of the best wrestlers of all time.
Yes.
So it's hard to say. But they're not on the level.
Well, you could argue that Rey Mysterio is the greatest luchador of all time.
I would say he is. But
Yeah.
I would say he's one of the best wrestlers of all time. Like, just straight up one of the best of all time. Because he's so innovative for so long. He's still having matches now that are as great as when he first started, and he's one of the most influential wrestlers when it comes to small guys. Same with Jericho; they're both so influential. It's hard to say. You can't make a Mount Rushmore. It's impossible to put four guys.
When I say Rushmore, I don't necessarily limit it to four. It's kind of just like that group,
Okay.
you know, like that elite group. Like for instance, Mattel put out their 100 series, like to celebrate like 100 series of it, and it's like special edition figures of like, and it's Cena, Shawn, Taker, Austin, and Rock and Triple H. And I'm like, because they couldn't put Hogan in there because I think the embargo on Hogan products was still in place when they were making the figures. But to me, that's pretty close. Like that series, that block of figures right there. I was like, this is a pretty like solid Rushmore right here if they had to make one. I mean, there's 6 of them, but you know.
It's just every time we get into this discussion, it's then there's the people who are like, what about all the people in Japan? What about all the people in Mexico? What about and you just go like, it becomes so difficult to like.
No, of course.
What about different decades?
And
What about this? What about Bruno Sammartino?
I guess when I say
Dusty.
I guess when I say Rushmore, I don't necessarily think of 4 spots, nobody else. To me, it's just like the top of the top, the cream of the crop.
Fair. It's tough. It's tough for me because it's like I don't. The ones from the Bruno Sammartinos don't have the same kind of influence on me, but I know they're incredibly influential and stuff, you know, and there wouldn't be this without them and stuff. It's just like I look at Rey Mysterio, I'm like, that guy's he's been putting on just insane matches for 30 years. Which the metrics of his drawing or ability or it's so hard. It's so hard.
You also can't. I mean, dude, he's been on top longer than I think the only other person who's been on top as long as him is Undertaker.
Jericho?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's been up there for a while.
I mean, I don't throw in Triple H in there because he practically runs the place now. So
and it's also hard because Jericho, I don't know, he wasn't champion that many times in WWE, was he?
No, but he was always featured. But he was maybe
wasn't,
not early, but he was
like,
world champion for a good amount of time.
True. I just feel like they never like
he made that big gold belt again.
They never like hitched their wagon to Jericho, I feel like.
I feel like when he was doing There Will Be Blood Jericho, or is that the movie he referenced, or was it No Country for Old Men Jericho? I forget. He referenced
one of the two.
One of those 2 movies that he based that character off of when he wore the suit and he was all serious. But to me,
probably No Country for Old Men.
I think that might have been it when he played Javier Bardem's
That's what I was
character.
thinking, yeah.
I think
that's what I was thinking.
I'm not sure, but it's, in my opinion, he was the top heel in the company at that point. My personal opinion.
No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
Fair. I just honestly right now I feel like he's on a different level right now because he's like got a chip on it. He also has a chip on his shoulder of like he's mad WWE didn't want to make him Universal Champion like Goldberg. Like they don't see him like they do Goldberg and Undertaker and all those guys, and he does see
Which
himself
is interesting.
There. It's weird. It's always been a weird one to me.
That is interesting. They don't really keep him on that tier or offer him like part-time contracts.
No, because I mean they had Goldberg come in when he thought he was going to have a Universal title match. You know. So, and it's like, I'd be mad too if I were him. I would have that same chip on my shoulder of like, hey man, like I'm putting on dope. I could still put on awesome matches and I'm incredibly influential.
At a top rate too.
Totally.
Like not worked around, you know, like, because, you know, a lot of older guys are still are able to put on like good matches, but they're only as good as the people they're with. Mm-hmm. And this isn't the case with Jericho, as we've seen. It's all across the board. Cody, Naito, Kenny, you know, it's just all across. Paige, you know, from all walks of life, you know, so very varied dancing partners.
Oh, yeah.
And he's able to work with all of them.
Absolutely. That's why I thought it was a little unfair when I saw people doing the whole, like, you know, people give WWE crap for having older wrestlers as champions, and you're all celebrating AEW for it. And it's like, no, it's not the age they're complaining about. It's the
fact that they're not there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the lack of presence.
I mean, nobody got mad when AJ Styles won the belt,
No.
and it's because he's there.
I will say though, I want to know. I don't know if someone to tell me, but because of us saying this, I am interested to know how often Jericho will be on TV. Like, is Jericho going to be on TV every week? Because if he's not...
It's an easier schedule than Raw ever was, dude.
Oh, no, totally. But if he's not, then he kind of is doing the same thing as the other guys when it comes to lack of presence.
And you have no idea about...
I don't. Okay. I don't. I honestly don't. I assume he's only got to be there once a week that that they're going to have him there, I would imagine.
I feel like Tony... I mean, from what I understand... Jericho has full use of Tony's jet.
It does appear that way.
Yeah, he uses that thing a lot.
Well, speaking of Jericho traveling, great segue into the biggest story of the week. And
I thought we had already talked about it. Dang, there's so much to unravel here.
No, the biggest story of the week, obviously, was the fact that Chris Jericho lost his title belt.
He didn't lose.
Well, let's get into it. Let's get into it here. So,
like, when you read Jericho loses the title, you're like, didn't there some like untelevised match that happened? Well, no.
So, okay, here's how it all started. So, basically, Jericho filed a stolen not missing reports. He reported a theft to the police. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. It took me a second to catch it in the air there. Jericho reported a theft to the police on Sunday. Basically, this is what he said happened. I'm just going to read what the report said, actually. It said
the report's a little confusing.
It is. That's why I'm going to read the reports. I'll go piece by piece of how the story kind of progressed here. So first the report came out, and the report said the victim, who was Chris Jericho, reported the theft of his championship wrestling belt while he was eating inside Longhorn Steakhouse. The victim stated that he arrived at the Millionaire Club airport terminal and placed the belt inside his rented limousine. The limo driver shuttled the victim to Longhorn for dinner.
Which, by the way, I love that fans were like saying, well, I don't never heard of Millionaire airports. And I was like, yeah, because private jets have a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them have their own private airports.
Yeah, of course. And also, they just have. You'd be surprised at the perks that celebrities have in the airport. Like they have. It's not the same as you.
Yeah, some of them don't have to. Some of them go through a completely different security checkpoint, and they get driven from the checkpoint to the gate.
Like Hulk Hogan when he got in trouble with got that one police officer in trouble recently. Did you see that video?
I didn't see it, but
it's the funniest video. He's like, "Are you sure you're not going to get in trouble for this, brother?" And the guy's like, "Oh no, my boss said it's cool." And then the guy got in trouble for it.
Hey, credit to Hogan for asking first.
It's true. Although his video got the guy fired, but not fired, but he got him in trouble. But still, back to Jericho. The limo driver says he shuttled the victim to Longhorn for dinner. Now this says that the title belt was placed inside the limousine. Then they went to dinner at Longhorn, and it says the victim remained at Longhorn while the limo driver returned to the airport. The victim had taken the wrong luggage from the airport, and the driver took it back to the terminal. When the driver picked up the victim from the restaurant, the belt was missing. So basically...
But if you don't really deep dive into that, that's really confusing.
Basically, here's what happened. Jericho left the airport en route to a Longhorn. He was going to a Longhorn Steakhouse to eat, tired, whatever, going to eat from traveling. Gets to Longhorn, realizes that he grabbed the wrong bags. His title belt, he claims, was in the car. He says, hey, driver, I took the wrong bags. Can you take these back to the terminal, see if my bags are there? Do a switcheroo. If not, can you just make sure the bags stay there? So that whoever's bags they are, it gets found. Driver says, sure. He leaves. But Jericho left the title belt in the limo,
so
supposedly.
The belt went along with the driver to the ride to the airport.
Correct. So then Jericho goes to Longhorn.
This is like the John F. Kennedy assassination.
Then Jericho goes to eat dinner without his title belt. When the driver returns to pick him up, Jericho gets in the limo, sees there is no title belt there, says something to the driver, and that's really all we know. Then they call the cops. So that was that, right? So then Jericho, who's already in the midst of going viral for this little bit of the Bubbly thing, posts an amazing video about the missing title belt. And I love everything about this video. The fact that he is in a jacuzzi wearing a scarf is amazing. This random one little pinwheel in the background spinning the whole time, like, it cracks me because it's just so random. And then he pours himself a glass of champagne and then puts the glass aside and drinks the bottle of champagne, which is so random. It cracked me up. But basically says that he's launching a worldwide investigation.
With private investigators
to find the belt. But, plot twist, the next day, the Tallahassee police post a picture of one of the officers, Kyle O'Reilly in Hulk Hogan status, like doing this guitar belt.
You think that's what he was doing?
I mean, it looks like it. That's probably not what he was doing, but it looks like he's doing the guitar belt. It was a really weird
way to hold the belt.
It looks like he's doing the guitar thing. Probably not.
Much like the Kennedy assassination, it looked like the way the guy held up Lee Harvey Oswald's gun.
I love that you Kennedy assassination this whole Jericho thing.
I mean, everybody thinks it's a conspiracy, of course, because why wouldn't they? Everybody in wrestling thinks everything's a conspiracy.
This would be a wild conspiracy.
Yeah, getting the Houston police involved,
Tallahassee. Getting Tallahassee police involved. Also, so getting the police involved, and then also, why, if they were going to leak it to someone, they wouldn't have leaked that random blog. It was the place that first broke the story was this obscure wrestling blog.
It wasn't Bixpan?
No, he was quote tweeting something that was on some random ass blog.
Huh.
I think it's like Blog of Doom or something like that. I think it's a former popular like wrestling journalist guy. I'm not sure, but it's like a silly blog he has. It's not even like a actual website.
Yeah,
and
like a news site.
Yeah, and then Bix, because I read it. It's like it's one of those like wild line kind of things where it's like, blah, blah, blah. It was like Drunkico is what I called him or something like that. Drunkico loses belt or something like that. Very like early 2000s Perez Hilton-y style of writing. And then Bix called the cops and confirmed. And then I saw that and was like, well, I'm going to call the cops. And when I called it, I didn't tell them. They're like, yeah, the Jericho law. That thing about Jericho is true. And I was like, okay, easy enough. Okay, so then the next day, the police post a picture where they've got the belt. They found the belt. And they say, like, we found it. But then they delete the post. And they say it's still an active investigation, which is very random. My guess is that they posted it and didn't tell AEW first, didn't tell Jericho first, and Jericho contacted them like,
this is how you tell me?
This is how you're going to tell me?
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, oops, sorry. Like,
Yeah.
aren't you supposed to be investigating who fucking stole it from me? And so they were like, oops, sorry. We got, like, I'm guessing they got caught up in the whole internet craze of a little bit of the bubbly and the
Seems
missing
like
title. So then it gets recovered, right? But then it gets even crazier, in my opinion, once you found out what actually happened with the title belt.
That it was found on the side of the road.
It wasn't stolen. It was just found on the side of the road. Like, okay, so this is what the Tallahassee PD said first. They said, officers learned that a championship belt reported to be valued at $29,250 was stolen from a limo recently occupied by the belt's owner. On September 4th, a citizen returned the championship belt to TPD headquarters, reporting that it was found along a local roadway. Now, they said they were still investigating the situation at the time, right? But then the guy himself talked to local news, and I love his story so much. Like, this whole thing is so weird. So the guy's name is Frank Price, and he works at, he's a 41-year-old dude who works at the Florida State University and is not a wrestling fan. So he says that he and his wife, he says it was his 41st birthday, and he and his wife had been scalloping all day, which I believe is fishing for scallops, I would imagine.
And involves scallops.
That makes sense. So they were scalloping all day and were driving home. They got off a turn lane to get off the road, to get off the highway, and they see a velvet bag in the middle of the road. They claim to pull over, get it, put it in the car, keep driving. Now I want to pause right there. To me, that's just weird in itself. Have you ever seen something in the middle of the road and thought, I'm gonna pull over and grab that?
No.
Right?
No. I mean, I don't know what the bag looked like. If it was,
He says it's a big velvet bag.
Well, is it like red velvet or is it purple?
My guess is purple or red. That's my guess.
I mean, I don't know. I've never seen anything like that on the side of the road.
You don't know how you'd react in that situation?
I don't. And it's and also this is Tallahassee. People are different down there.
True, he was just scalloping, so maybe he likes to he's like a guy who's a crafty dude, you know?
To me, what I like to think happened, and this isn't even to be funny, I just think this is a feasible possibility. Somebody did steal it. After the rush calmed down, realized, what am I going to do with this? It's too hot.
It's too hot.
You know?
Yeah.
It is, because everybody's looking for it.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's a few others in the world. You know, they haven't started selling the replicas yet.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, what am I going to do? Just have it? You know, I can't show it to anybody, you know? So I think he just panicked and...
Can I tell you my theory?
Okay.
My theory is that...
He didn't tip the limo driver, and he was like, fuck this.
Well, that's not the worst theory, actually. That's not the worst theory. Like, really? You want me to go back and get your bags? Fuck you. You know? Mine was going to be more comical. I was going to say that I hope that Jericho was just, tipsy, celebrating his title win, that he's champion
Holding
again.
it up.
And
Whoops.
that he did, a girl going to prom move where he was just standing out of the sunroof, with a little bit of the bubbly in one hand, his title belt in the other, and it's a whoop. Just went flying, and he didn't know what to do, and just kept going to Longhorn, and then blamed it.
Thieves!
Thieves! They thieved it from me. Call the police.
Call the constable.
Actually, your second theory makes more sense, though.
It could be. I don't know. It's just it seemed like because throwing something out of that's like ditching it. It's like I don't want to be associated with this anymore.
The other theory that I have, and this is a little bit, I don't know the proximity of where it was found to the airport, but if it was close enough, my other theory is that they put it on the top of the car or on top of the trunk or something like that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
When they were putting the luggage in and just forgot. I've done that before. With granted it was coffee, but I actually drove. I remember I drove for a good distance with coffee on my roof.
My boy just a few weeks ago drove off with the gas pump still in his car, and it ripped the pump off of the thing, and he had to pay for it.
Yeah, that sucks. I've seen that happen before. I've been at the gas station when someone else did that. It was one of the funniest things to witness. I was like, "Whoa, what's this guy doing?"
There's gas everywhere.
Yeah, surprisingly, no. It has a shut off thing. I saw someone do it, and
I didn't see it. My buddy just sent me.
Did he say there was gas everywhere?
He just sent me a photo of the thing still in his gas tank. I was like, "You're a genius."
But that's my other alternate theory is that on top of the roof flew away because they forgot to put it. They actually forgot to put it in the car. It was early in the morning. They were just whatever, It's my other.
You think we'll
theory.
ever find out who took it?
I don't know. I honestly
because it's back. So do you think it's
they'll never find out? I mean, dude, if the guy had never turned that in, they never would have found it.
No,
that's just how things go. When things get stolen, they don't find it like that. It would have taken a.
No, I'm saying I'm saying you'll never find out. They'll never find him. Yeah.
I kind of believe this guy. I kind of believe I don't think I honestly don't believe someone stole it. I believe that something weird happened, it fell out of something or a fall off of something. I don't think someone stole it and then ditched it. That seems like a weird. I realize that it's hot. You're right. That if you had stolen it and then the next morning you woke up and there was a million news stories
about it.
I
can't do anything with this.
But the news stories didn't hit until Wednesday. And he found it on Sunday, he claims, this guy. So it wouldn't have been hot at that point.
Are you sure?
Yeah. He says he found it on Sunday. He says he found it in the middle of a turn lane on Sunday evening. Sunday day is when it was lost.
How long did he have it? 3 days?
So this is my favorite part about it. Yeah, he says that he took it. Okay, so this is the weird part. You find a bag on the road and you just toss it in your car not knowing what's in it. He didn't open it there. He says he opened it when he got home. And when he got home, they opened this bag and saw this title belt in there. And we're like, that's weird. It looks like a wrestling or a boxing belt or something like that. So they Googled it. They saw what the belt looked like, but they assumed this was a replica. They're like, we don't have the actual belt. Probably just a replica. Because they don't know anything about that this is a new company. They're not selling replicas yet. So he takes a picture of himself with the belt on and puts it on Craigslist in the Lost and Found section of Tallahassee and says, I found a pro wrestling championship belt on Highway 20 Sunday afternoon. Contact me with details and you can come get it. He posts it there, right? Then goes about his day, hoping to hear something. Then Wednesday is when the news breaks. I think it's Wednesday is when the news breaks, and his inbox is full of people locals who saw it on there and go, "Hey man, there's a bunch of news stories about this. They're gonna think you stole it." So he calls the police. Goes, "Hey, I found this on the side of the road. I've had an ad up on Craigslist for a few days. I'm gonna come turn it in." They're great. So he goes to turn it in, and when he turns it in, he says that he saw the limo driver while walking in, and the limo driver was there filling out an insurance claim or something that he needed for the insurance claim, and he comes walking in with the title belt, and he said the limo driver was ecstatic and gave him a $200 reward because he was so happy that the belt got found, because $30,000 belt.
Yeah, I'm sure the limo driver was panicking.
Panicked, and then he turned it in the cops. Cops said thank you. Then they posted the thing on Facebook, blah, blah, guitar guy. But I did think it was funny. He said in the interview that after they took it from him and they had to continue the investigation, I'm assuming because AEW was like, are you going to find out if the guy stole it? Type thing. They called him back and they were like, hey, they asked him about the limo driver, if he had any relation to the limo driver. They basically started to investigate him to make sure he didn't steal it. And he seems to be off the hook now. And then they turned it back in, and Jericho has it. But like you said, the fact that they were able to get so much press off of this, get the belt back, and almost be in the better because of it is insane. Like, the fact that they almost, and I know that, I don't say they can do no wrong, quote unquote, but like, God, they're lucky right now with with the way that everyone loves them right now, just the success they're having. Like,
they've been really able to roll with a lot of setbacks.
That could have been a huge setback on day one of TV to not have their title.
I mean, say what you say about the ending, it could have been better, but I mean, I think the Pac and Kenny match delivered in terms of, I don't know what the physicality.
Yeah,
I guess
it delivered.
Yeah, it was without any sort of buildup. It really delivered.
Yes,
and that's just I mean, they've had other issues before. The
Kylie Ray stuff that's been coming out lately. All the public tweets about CM Punk when it seemed like they were maybe going to sign him, and then he's mad, and then he's saying things, and all that kind of stuff. There's been a lot of stuff that AEW has had to deal with up front right off the bat.
The chair shot.
The chair shot.
Yeah.
Good point. The dog pyro.
Yeah. Which, by the way, shocked that there wasn't a lot of. Did you see anything?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You did. I didn't see anything.
I saw a lot of it.
Like from actual organizations?
No, but I think PETA maybe said something, but of course they said something.
They say everything.
Yeah, I think. Cody also shot it down pretty quickly and basically said that he didn't know the noise making pyro was going to be shot off. That it was more supposed to be like sparkler type stuff. But who knows? Tony Khan was pissed about it.
Was he?
In the post-event scrum.
What was said?
He was like, no, that won't happen again. Very unhappy about that. Like, did not know that was going to happen. Like, type stuff.
Yeah, as much as I mean,
he's like, look at, I like having Pharaoh around as much as ever.
Of course.
I never want to have the dog in that position ever again.
We don't need to have the dog on TV anymore.
No,
we don't. And we know who Pharaoh is. We love Pharaoh. He can live on Cody's social media
and all that kind of stuff.
But we don't need him around for the entrance anymore. I remember when he first did it, Pharaoh looked a little like, even without the pyro, like at the first All In, when he came out with the Rhodes family, like with DDP and Glacier and all that stuff. Even then, he was like, I'm a dog.
I'm a dog, and I want to be laying down.
Yeah, he looked, and it's very overstimulating, and I feel bad because it's like I know for a fact, obviously, it's very clear
that he loves that dog more than anything.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
That Cody and Brandy love their dogs.
Yes.
So that has never been a point of contention.
No,
never.
No.
It was just, people do funny things when they're hyped up.
Yes.
You're ready to go. I've done it.
Yes.
You've done it.
Totally.
And,
I probably wouldn't even, I didn't, it was a mistake. If they do it again, then it's a problem.
Yeah, but that's it. They definitely learned from it. They're like, okay, we don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, totally. All right, Jamie, you got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at JAMIE_IOVINE or on Instagram at JAMIEIOVINE. Check out Network every day for daily drops, raffles, so on and so forth, exclusive products or early to market that you can't get anywhere else, at least at the time. Or you could check out, they're up on Chalkline now, up on WWE Shop. The entrance pants, currently Bret Hart right now. That's the first design. They're doing incredibly well. Get them while you can. We're restocking as fast as we can, but they're selling out, which I like.
Much like White Claws.
Not as tasty, though. But get them while you can. We're gonna drop the next design sometime around winter, late fall, early winter, in time for the holidays.
You already showed what it was.
I will. It's not the full design.
I mean, you showed the date and everything of which pants they are.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna be influenced by the Shawn Michaels Razor Ramon match from 1997. So
they look awesome.
Really excited about those, and we got a lot more coming, so just stay tuned. And, of course, check out me and my upper class, Royce Isaacs, Double Platinum, Heather Monroe, every weekend from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, available on most streaming devices, like on the Fight app or on KDoc in Memphis now, and in Houston now.
I believe so.
Yeah, in Houston now, so check us out. It's not hard to find us.
And you can find everything we're doing here at ProWrestlingSheet.com. That's the website. At Wrestling Sheet on social media. I'm at Ryan Satin. YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. That's where you can find our videos. That's where you can find the Raw and SmackDown recaps that I do, though. The Raw recap didn't get posted this week, but we can find the Raw and SmackDown recap there. You can find the video of Jamie and I doing Wrestling Sheet Radio and a lot other interviews and other stuff. So go make sure you check it out. Subscribe while you're there. Like the videos. Comment. I respond as much as I can. So please keep doing that. But if you just want to listen to the audio while you're driving, working out, cooking, doing whatever, just check out Wrestling Sheet Radio on your favorite podcast app. Okay, that's it. We're done. Officially tapping out for now. Until next time, stay out of the dirt and keep your eye on the sheet. Oh, wait. Oh, I didn't even show off my Cool Fiend shirt. It's only 500 of these made.